In this ASMR one card pull, I have pulled a card from the Wild Chorus Oracle. So let's see what we have today. A spell for letting go. Let's find that in the book. All right. Keywords: release, cut cords, and more. Witness, if you will, this grieving crow. They are piling tiny shells into a broken teacup, seemingly unaware that the shells keep spilling out. They also seem unaware that the red ribbon tied to their leg has been cut. There are many choices they can make at this moment, but their grief keeps them focused on trying to shore up something that is already broken. This card holds a mirror to a part of you that has been struggling to let go. Perhaps you're not ready to admit that something has changed or ended. Perhaps you're not ready to move away from the grief and into the uncertainty of what comes next. What this card reflects is that you are freer than you realize. Free to go, free to remain, free to grieve, free to release attachment. But that cup is broken and that cord is cut. This card invites you into recognition of grief and curiosity about where you are in the process of letting go. You may pull this card at the first shock of loss or many years later. What you're ready for in each case may be wildly different. This card may also gesture toward a certain path already being at its natural end, or being one that will require you to give something up if you follow it. And then they have what they call attunement, and my understanding is these are almost kind of like key phrases, so to speak. You know, even though there's the key words at the beginning, I was trying to go back and see if they mention it in the introduction, but I don't want to just, yeah. So we'll just take it that way, because so it says develop an admiration for scissors. So I think it's a way of sort of being in tune with the meaning of the card or with the visuals. Develop an admiration for scissors. Remember that soaring is what happens after we feel the absolute heaviest. Sort through what's been spilled. What did you take? What did you leave behind? Speak in present and future tense. Name what is beginning. And remember you are freer than you think. So I love all the art in this deck, and this is a neat card. I'd say that before I'd say anything else. And I like this image of the crow piling like it's sort of stuck in this repetitive, like almost Sisyphus kind of task, even though it's free to fly away and sort of let the shells that they're never going to be able, you can't put it back together again. I like that image because I think that there really is a good image for grief. But it's also a good image for grief in that sometimes we have to just keep putting those shells in a cup for a while, even though we know they're sort of falling out. You know what I mean? So, sort of until we almost like a meditate, like some ways like you're stuck in a cycle, but in some ways I feel like the spiral of the shell is almost like, yeah, you're spiraling, but not. Sometimes I feel like we confuse spiraling out of control with spiraling around something. Or like, yeah, it can seem like you're stuck, but you're actually not. You're like spiraling almost like a tornado, right? Like every time you go around, you're going to a different depth. And I think in grief, that often happens, is that we need to put those, that's kind of opposite of what they're saying, I guess, but like sometimes we need to like just keep putting those shells in that pile until we feel like we don't have to put those shells in a pile anymore, or until we're tired of putting shells in a pile, or until we just stop and turn around and notice that, red ribbon's been cut and we can fly away. So I like that everything's on the table in that way, like if it's standing on a table and sort of all of those things are there and all those options, which they do talk about. And I like that, where it's, you know, that you're freer than you realize, and free to go, free to remain, free to grieve, free to release attachment. So, you know, you don't have to stay where you are, but sometimes you might be choosing to stay where you are. But you can always change your mind later. So, anyway, that's kind of what I got out of the card today. I hope you also got something, and I hope to see you again soon.